morning, Principles of Business and Finance. This is Ms. Archer. On your screen, you see our daily agenda for today. We are going to be looking at the last objective in Objective 5, and that is the 505 that has a PowerPoint with student notes. We'll also be looking at the 505 Computing Gross Domestic Product activity, and then you guys should be attempting the 503 through 504 Google Classroom quiz through today all the way till April the 9th, which is this Thursday. As always, these assignments are due on April the 9th. You can feel free to work on them during spring break, but we're just trying to make sure you guys actually have a spring break and are not doing any assignments. And then from April the 10th to the 17th, it is our spring break, so there'll be no assignments loaded in the classroom. There'll be nothing that is going to be due. Mr. Warren and myself will not be present that much in the classroom during that time, so just keep that in mind. It is your spring break and ours. As always, Mr. Moore's contact information is at the bottom with his email address and Remind, and then my email information is underneath his, also with my Google Voice and Remind app. So let's begin. Okay, so in 505, it's not really that heavy in the classroom, but it's definitely one that we'll take a look at. So we're analyzing cost-profit relationships to guide business making decisions. And just to make that seem a little bit more relevant and at home, what we're looking at right now is pretty much your productivity. We're looking at the dollars and cents of making the business run. So productivity, if you guys recall the pizza scenario we have in the classroom, it is the amount and value of goods and services produced by the outputs. So inputs and outputs are a big deal here. So how much you're putting into getting something done and how much you're putting out is what you're looking at. So productivity is measured by a couple of ways. So the number of products produced divided by the number of steps involved in producing them. So we had 3 different rounds with the pizza activity. And what happened was each round something changed. You guys got a new topping for one round. You got some pre-made dough, quote unquote, for another round. Then you lost a person and the topping was added. So a lot of different things took place in the various rounds that we had. Then another way to compute output is, of course, the dollar value of total sales divided by the number of salespeople who make the sales. So these are more for sales-based jobs. If there are 6 people working and you make $36,000, then you divide it and figure out how much each person gets for doing that. And then another way is the dollar value of total sales divided by the cost of making those sales. So always we have to take into consideration that there is a cost to produce everything. So you definitely have to take that into account when you're doing productivity. So gross domestic product. So this is, or GDP, this is the highly used measurement to determine the country's overall economic output. So what are we putting out for other companies to buy? So it is the GDP is the total country's dollar value of all final goods and services produced in a year. So these are divided into some major categories of individual spending, which is what us, the consumer, spends, then what the businesses spend, then how much the government spends, and then how much we're exporting out of the country and how much we're importing out of the country. So Ms. Archer, what do you mean by exports and imports? So exports are things like soybeans, vegetables, and some of our vehicles like Ford and Chevy. So we give these out to other countries to sell, just like vice versa. We get a lot of our products from China. So we look at things like our iPhones and our Samsungs and our Androids and the computers and stuff like that. A lot of these things are made over in China, so they are imported in. So to determine GDP per capita, you're going to divide GDP by the total population. So the GDP per capita is an income per person that is earned. So this kind of determines how much the average American or Chinese or whatever country they're looking at, how much they make in a single year. Then some measuring productivities. So of course you look at things like unemployment rate. And if any of you guys are paying attention to any sort of news broadcast, you're hearing every day unemployment rate is going up. I think when I checked the number yesterday, we were at 6.6 million. So these are how many people that are currently not in working right now and that have filed for unemployment. And so you look at things like that. Then we look at consumer spending. Right now, our spending is down because we really can't go anywhere and nothing's open. So personal income is definitely taken into consideration there. Retail sales have slumped because of the fact a lot of the non-essential businesses are closed. So we cannot go out and purchase anything right now. So their sales are out. So we look at things, some investment activities that also help us earn. So we look at some stocks and some bonds and some market interest and stuff like that. So we got to think about different ways to get productivity up. And as of right now, stocks and bonds, with the stock market being a little bit all over the place, is still not really the best way to go. But when the economy does get back up and going, this is some things you look at. Okay, so explaining the concept of productivity. So normally these are several factors that enhance productivity. So you look at maybe a specialized department or division of labor. When I worked at Purdue Farms, there was leg line, there was whole bird. I worked in debone. We took the chicken breast off of the bone. There was marination. They were the ones that, marinated the meat and put it in the nice little packages and stuff like that. So you have different departments that do different things. Then you look at the increased capital, or how much money has been put into it. You look at the mass production. You look at research and development, government regulations, make sure that you're in compliance with everything. Then training and education, communication, participation, and decision making, then the motivation, and then of course the quality of life that we are living and working in. Now, some factors that hinder productivity are a lack of standardization. So that means everybody's doing everything. There's no one department that's doing one thing. It's people all over the place. Then you're looking at your lack of tools of equipment, too many different products, poor product or service design. Lack of communication is a big deal everywhere. Poor planning, normally from the top management, when things are not planned out properly. Your lack of worker knowledge and education. Of course, personality conflicts, we're always not going to get along. Poor, unsafe working conditions, and then an unclear goal. So this is the activity that I have you guys looking at. And I did this because, one, we're not in the classroom, and it's easier for me to explain to you guys what we're doing physically in the classroom. But since we're not, I went on ahead and I filled in the chart for you guys. So they're asking you to compute real GDP and per capita GDP. And it's actually giving you the formula here and in each section, and I've highlighted it. And then what I did here is I gave you the answer, but I still showed you what to do. So what I did there, and actually no, I didn't give you the answer. I gave you the formula for what you're doing, but I just wanted you guys to see exactly how to calculate GDP and per capita GDP. Even gave you the answer for number 7 down here, so you guys kind of get an idea of exactly what you're doing. And again, I still didn't give you guys all of the answer. I gave you guys the formula for you guys to figure it out. So a little bit of math is involved in this particular area, but I want you guys to just try this in a calculator or something to make sure that you understand what it is. What I am requiring of you guys is to complete number 8. So you still have to answer number 8. I want you guys to really sit down and think about it, and this is similar to the problems above, from 1 through 7 above, and give me the correct answer for number 8. So this is really all that I am requiring of you guys in this particular activity. Now, if you still want to go through, and which I suggest still go through and try to find the correct answers for these just using the problem, then I say still go through so you understand them. So when you get a question on a quiz or in something, you're not stumped on how to calculate it. All right, so the 503, 504, and 505 quiz, excuse me for the typo, that will be fixed. It is essentially questions pulled directly from your pretest. So I'm giving you guys all the questions that came from 503, 504, and 505 in a quiz format. I was told that SchoolNet has been acting a little bit weird since we've been out, so it's not necessarily working with the code. So this is your quiz here. You are not to attempt this quiz until today. A couple of you guys have gone on ahead and done this quiz first without reading all directions. And the reason I said do not attempt it until today is because of the fact, if you attempted it back on March 31st, that means we haven't even gone through the objectives yet. So you really don't know what you're doing. You're using Socratic and Googling the questions, and that's it. So I really want you guys to take consideration what you're doing. Try it only after you have done 505. Once you've gone through and done everything, great. And then answer the questions there. I don't want to see clear 100s because no one should make a whole 100 on this. I understand we're home and you have all these opportunities to do whatever you want. That's fine. But when you get back in the classroom, you're not going to be able to do that. So I want you guys to be very particular about what you're doing. As always, make sure you are submitting all assignments when they are supposed to be done, and that if you have any questions or concerns, you're reaching out to myself and Mr. Moore. I hope you guys are taking care and being safe. Your report cards should be mailed out at some point in time this week, so catch them at the mail. But those that need instructional packets, they should also be delivered out to you guys soon also. As always, if you guys have any questions and need us, definitely feel free to reach out to us, and we will do the very best we can with helping you out. Until next time, you guys take care.